Of course, the second call very much builds on the, or takes into account the results of the first call, and starting from the budget, as you might have noticed, we had in the first call 80 million of European Regional Development Fund, which was devoted to the call. At the end of the day, the 35 approved projects accounted for a little bit more than 70 million. So this means that there was kind of less commitment of funds in the first call, and therefore that's why the second call is not 80 million as it was in the first call, but it is higher, it is 90 million. So even a larger pot available for the second call. The second call is open to all priorities. It's open to all specific objectives. So it is a completely open call as it was for the first call. The second call, as it was, of course, for the first call, has a co-financing rate up to 85%. It is very much depends from the country. So it is 80% in Italy, Austria, and Germany, and 85% in all the other countries. Differently from the first call, the second call is a one-step procedure. So you will have to apply with the entire application form. This is also something which helps those projects which were rejected in the first call, because then they can, let's say, immediately resubmit their proposal in one shot without going through the entire process of two-step assessment. As for the first call, the submission of proposals takes place through the electronic monitoring system. Myself, in October last year in Prague, I was at the lead applicant training for step 2 of the second call, promising that EMS will not have any dysfunction. And then we had that when we were closing the first call, there were problems. So I had to withdraw, and I said, oh, I will never say that this will happen. This will not happen. But I can tell you that we are doing all the best we can in order to avoid problems with the monitoring system. I really want to underline that this is still a young system. It is just started used with the new program. And in Europe, there are many other programs using EMS, but let's say with such high number of users, we were the first one testing the system in such a stressful way. So we took measures, of course, after the results of the first call. We really hope that nothing will happen, but I cannot promise this time. But anyhow, if something happens, we will always try to make the things in a way that there are no, let's say, problems for the applicants. This is, of course, our commitment. The duration of the call is open from 26th of April to 23rd of June. So the call is not open really for such long time. The time is passing, and at this point of time, you have to be already in a good shape, in my opinion, in preparing your proposal. And this is where now I stop and I ask you to raise your hands. Who of you is already writing the actual application form? Can you raise your hands, please? Okay. To the others, please start soon. Because time is running, and really to write the work plan in the last 2 days is not an option. It's not really something which you have to do, because it's too late. And the application form, okay, now maybe, especially if you are very involved in the first call, or maybe if you are involved in other programs using the same application form, you are more familiar, but still there is a lot to do and a lot to prepare. In order to be accurate as you are supposed to be, you need to have time. The timeline. So, as I said, 26th of April, we opened the call, so just a week after the approval of the first call projects. From 28th of April to 19th of May, we are running national info days. There were already last week some info days, and they will continue to be also in the next weeks. Today we have, and yesterday and today we have the lead applicant training here in Zagreb, and until 17th of June, it will be possible to have individual consultations. So to have a feedback from the Secretariat on general aspects concerning your project idea and on general information concerning the program. This is until 1 week prior the closure of the call. So beware that after that day, it will not be possible to have additional individual consultations. Why? For the simple reason that if you need a consultation in 2 days before or 1 day before the closure of the call, it doesn't really make sense, because these consultations, we have to be very clear, are not to be regarded as a pre-assessment of your proposal. You cannot come to the consultation with your application form. The consultations are meant to give some general addresses. Is this topic in line with the priority number 1 or with the specific objective number 1.2? Things like that, but you cannot go in there discussing your work plan at the consultation. On 23rd of June, we close the call, and then we immediately start with the assessment of proposals. This means that, according to our procedure, we will look immediately at the formal administrative aspects of your application forms. And according to our procedures, we might approach you with requests of providing amended documents, for example. This means that we really recommend you in the first, let's say in the last week of June, and especially in the first 2 of July, to remain available. We know that it is already towards the summer break, but still to remain available in your institutions for having maybe some signature of amended documents or things like that. So, because we will, for sure, at least some of you, we will approach for solving some formal aspects in order, as I said before, to reduce to the minimum the number of proposals which are not eligible out of formal mistakes. We will then start immediately the project assessment. We will be very busy at the Secretariat with the assessment of proposals. And I cannot tell you how long we will take, because it really very much depends on the number of proposals we will receive, obviously, because what we want to do is anyhow to perform an accurate assessment of your proposals. So we need the time that we need. We will do our best to speed up the process, but since we expect quite a high number of applications in the second call, we think that it is realistic to say that in spring we will have the decision for funding of the project submitted in the second call. And then we will start immediately contracting of the projects, meaning that we expect projects of the second call to start their implementation in mid-2017. As I said, this is a very provisional timeline. It very much depends on the number of proposals we will receive. Thank you very much.